You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to Cards to the Moon. This is episode 223. My name is Clark from 5cardguys.com and 5cardguys on Instagram. Co-hosting with me as usual is Hyung of Integrity Sports Cards and John, who is Trades You at Recess, both on IG as well. All right, let's just get right into it. Off the top today, Walmart is now getting into the hobby space, launching its new collectibles marketplace online. And you can go check out the details by visiting marketplace.walmart.com/collectibles-experience. I'll link it in our show notes below. And on that site, you'll see that you can sell sports memorabilia, comic books, and of course, trading cards. You do have to apply to be a seller. And if you qualify, apparently, Walmart is offering 0% referral fees until the end of September as its promotion. So it looks like they just really want to ramp up this new marketplace for collectors. So guys, thoughts on this? Do you think Walmart can succeed, or do you think they're a little too late in the game?
It's definitely interesting. I think because they do fulfillment services too, right? Before, and I always looked at that, and because you would see stuff that's like, oh, Walmart usually doesn't sell it, but they sell it online, and it would be priced at dependent on, the price of whoever's selling it. So right. Every time I seen that, I always thought, what a joke. Like, I don't like Walmart's fulfillment like process, but so it's very interesting that they're going this route, in my opinion. But I will say, I think the more important question is, because what do I think about it? I'm not like thrilled. It's not, I don't think I would ever use it, to be honest. But I think the more important question is why? Why would Walmart do something like that? And I think that's where, there's more intel of the strategic move that they see. So a big company like Walmart, right? Whether the product is good or not, that's to be determined. But based on their fulfillment service, I wasn't a huge fan of it. But I think the question that I'm interested in is, why would Walmart get into this space?
Do you have any speculation why they? To answer that question,
I think it's I think we say it every week, right? Like it's just a bullish sign that there's so much opportunity.
Yes. So
a big company like Walmart would definitely see where, spaces are growing and how they could, go sideways or lateral to potentially grow their top line revenue. So yeah, to me, interesting move to say the least. And it's just a bullish sign for me. Whether the platform performs well, that's to be determined. And I'd like to see a better layout, not look like the Walmart site, like typical Walmart site, because I think that kind of throws it off. And I already have a bad kind of like image of their fulfillment services, because you would see stuff listed for so expensive because they're obviously other people's price, right? So that's kind of where I'm at, because Walmart has like a distinction of when you go and shop deals, that's where you're expecting. But if you see overpriced stuff, it's kind of like it goes against the whole Walmart brand. So that's my only kind of like confusing issue I have.
Yeah, great points, and I agree on most of them. John, what do you think?
It's funny you mentioned the Walmart fulfillment side, because that's exactly what I thought of. I remember back in the day for sneakerheads, for some reason they had Yeezy Red Octobers, which is the Nike Yeezy from back in the day. One of the rarest and most, it's like a holy grail shoe for a lot of sneaker collectors. And it was on the Walmart website for like 25 grand or 30 grand or something. Hilarious. I remember seeing that like doing like a triple take. I was like, what the heck? Why are you see Red Octobers on Walmart?
Yeah.
Um, but like on the, in big picture, I guess it's okay. It's again, you can't hate on it too much because it is the hobby growing in multiple areas,
Hmm.
and the more competitors, or who knows if this becomes a legitimate competitor, but the more competitors there are to some of the big boys against eBay, etc.,
Hmm.
that creates a better marketplace overall and better fees and all of that stuff. The competition is better for the consumer and product. So in that way, you can't complain. Now, from the actual Walmart side of it, I'm with Young. It's super confusing because Walmart, like when you think about marketing and brand value and all of that stuff for those that study, I mean, Walmart is not. When you think of the Walmart's like a supermarket, right? Like you don't think of
Hmm.
collectibles, you don't think of trading card platforms. They're them selling cards is not even big. Like the selling card portion of Walmart uh, is not even big alone. So if they were really big, like for example, like really big into electronics, there's a big electronics section, and they start to try to compete with Best Buys of the world and etc. I could kind of understand that, but to kind of come out of nowhere just to try to take advantage um, of the piece of the pie in this growing market, it's a little confusing, and I don't know how well it would be adopted. I think it almost would have been better if Walmart, a big company like Walmart, I don't know, bought out Arena Club and then use some of
Mm.
their resources to kind of start something, or start
Interesting.
an off brand and it's maybe powered by Walmart, or I don't
Yeah,
know, right?
that
Like,
sounds better.
yeah, like not under the Walmart brand. It's really strange. So I think I'm
Mm.
not sure in terms of the hobby and collectors out there whether they would adopt this. The three of us probably wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Unless it really grew quickly and there was a lot of people trading on it and there's deals to be had. But to get to that point, a lot of people have to adopt, and I don't know. It's going to be a long road ahead for them if I'm seeing it in the way that it is right now.
Yeah. No, those are good ideas, John. You should be on the Walmart advisory board and suggest that. but but I agree with you guys. I mean, generally speaking, this is my opinion, but I'm sure there will be many that agree with me. Retailers that have big box stores, their websites are usually crap. Like
Right.
it is horrible. I don't know
Right.
why. Maybe it's because those big box store retailers are just slow to adapt to technology in general. Walmart. You mentioned Best Buy even, and Target. I'm sure is the same way. It's just like not user friendly. You never know if it's the latest update. And you're just guessing all the time. So with fulfillment, that option, only Amazon really does it well, and they're just mostly an online retailer too, right? So they know how to do that well. They know how to be really efficient in that. But yeah, Walmart. I think that's why Walmart probably did it to compete with Amazon,
Right.
right? And
Hmm.
but I get it because us hobbyists, like when we want to buy retail, we do go to Walmart, right?
Yeah, head
And
blasters are the only good thing that come from there.
exactly. That's 90% of my Walmart budget is retail blasters at
Yeah.
the toy section, right? But in Canada at least. But yeah, so I get why they're doing it, but the only if I'm going to say something positive, eBay wasn't primarily a trading card platform either, and
Right.
they adapted, and now they have the authenticity guarantee, and they're really trying to make it more friendly for buyers and sellers, explicitly for um, collectors, right? So maybe Walmart could do that. You start off with what you with what you have, and then you adapt or evolve. See what kind of feedback you're getting. So
I will say
maybe.
something about so I briefly went onto their site to kind of check the whole platform out, and they did have something interesting that I think other people could take a page out of. I'm big on this, just myself, but they had almost like an academy
Mm.
to how to sell, like how to kind of like
Oh,
do
interesting.
all this. And what that kind of tells me is, people who aren't necessarily in this space, right?
Hmm.
Where they're not used to
Yeah.
selling, So it's actually nurturing them to be able to educate them. And to me, that brings a lot of value. I think, like for instance, if eBay had something like the eBay Academy on sports collectibles, and it teaches you how to package, how to ship, how to like list or whatever it may be, or how to check comps. Like, I think there's a lot of value in that. So it kind of shows that maybe, you know, they're targeting the newcomers into the hobby as well, where, you know, it's a totally different demographics, right? So just put it in context, just take it for what it is. It might be, you know, something that we're not seeing because we come from that hobby lens per se, right? So,
yeah.
And, you know, like, the way I see, if Walmart does this the same as eBay, I think personally, I think they'll go nowhere because there's already eBay, right?
Right.
But I think, you know, like a quick idea, and maybe this is on their radar, like, you know, who knows? But
Mm-hmm.
if Walmart becomes like a storefront fulfillment place and they can remove barriers to trading and selling. So one of the intimidating aspects of eBay for somebody that's never used it, somebody who's a veteran, no problem. Sell
Yeah.
something, ship it out. Um, and some people, you know, but for the barriers of new people, it's, you know, I'm kind of scared to ship it. You know, how much it's going to cost a lot. It might get lost. I'm
Mm-hmm.
selling like $10,000 card. You know, I've never used eBay before. And if Walmart has like a sports card collectible storefront where literally you can come and drop it off, and they have
I like
a
it.
flat shipping rate, or maybe not. Maybe it's free shipping if you own an account. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it gets either shipped to the customer or it gets shipped to the closest Walmart that they have. That way they can have their own intercompany shipping system, and maybe it's free. I don't know. And well, there's WalMarts all over the world. So if they can kind of tap into that sort of fulfillment, like storefront, like they become like an eBay storefront,
Yeah.
and new collectors can come by and just drop
I like
cards off,
that.
like drop a pile, it's all sold, it's off, and then it's on to the collector. I think that would be a huge win for some of the barriers that a lot of people have, and
Yeah.
fears that they have for selling and trading. So that's like a quick idea. I think if they did something that's different than eBay, they have a chance. But if they just come in and they act as if they're eBay, I think they'll have no chance.
Yeah. Dude, you need to be on the advisory board. I think this is gold for Walmart. I hope they did their market research. Yeah, like it's that's genius. Like it's almost like a card store in Walmart,
Yeah.
right? So, you know
Right.
what? You get those blasters, we could just rip in Walmart.
Absolutely. And send it
and then-
off.
And send it
Yeah,
off.
if you get a hit,
Yeah.
here's like, can you submit it to PSA? You know, partner with PSA, partner with
Yeah. Can you
Fanatics.
list it
Everyone's
for
doing
me
it
real
anyway.
quick? Yeah, sell it off. Mhm.
100%. Great idea. All right. I'll clip this so we can and tag Walmart on it, and then we'll see where it goes. All right. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, though, for sure. So going full circle back to what you said, Hyung, that's how I take it too. It's a bullish sign for me for the hobby that there's these opportunities, like companies are taking these kind of opportunities and looking to venture off into the trading card space. So I'm all for it. All right, let's move on now to hobby headlines. Okay, so I just came across this article on The Athletic and read that PSA, the grading company, created an all-star dream team roster for both the American League and the National League based on the most graded baseball cards for each position during the 2024 season so far. And it's great timing, of course, with the actual All-Star rosters recently announced. And shout out to our boy Vladdy Jr. for being the AL starter at first base, the one bright spot in the Jays season. Anyway, I thought we could maybe quickly go down the list of the PSA All-Star roster and see if there's anything that surprises you. And if you have any thoughts on the player in terms of collectability and whether you invest in their cards, etc. All right. So to start, let's just start with the biggest surprise, and it's who made it as a pitcher on this PSA roster on the AL side. Okay. Justin Verlander, he's one of the two AL pitchers, which isn't the big surprise. The other is, if you can guess, who would you say? Most graded AL pitcher in 2024 season so far.
Louis Skill.
Good guess.
No.
John, you got one? It's not Lewis Gill. Anyway, there's a trick question. It is Victor Wembanyama.
Oh my God.
What?
More specifically, his 2023 Tops Now card, number 472, of Wembanyama's first pitch at Yankee Stadium. Remember that card?
Oh, yeah.
Sold almost 50,000 copies, and it was by far the most popular pitcher card PSA graded on the AL side so far this season, with 1,600 copies graded. So you got... So that was obviously the lead of the article, that Victor Wembanyama made it to this AL roster because of his first pitch card. So yeah, that's kind of funny to me. Let's go down the AL side first, all right? And you tell me if there's anything that kind of sticks out to you. In the catcher position, Adley Rutschman, no surprise. He's also the AL catcher starter in real life. First base, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., again, no surprise. But an honorable mention is Tristan Casas. Surprised at that?
I'm not too surprised, but like he has some massive upside, I think, just as a player. But yeah, based on his season this year, it's surprising for sure. Like I think he's a 30 home run guy in the future, but I'm not sure how he reached that list.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe people think he's being slept on.
I think I definitely think like there's opportunity with Tristan Casas. He is getting a little old, so that's my concern. I think he got really overshadowed by kind of like the prospects that we went after during his era. So he's turning 24 now. He's injured, but yeah, I think he has 30 home run potential. He was on Team USA on the 18 under national team in 2017 with Jared Kelenic and Kumar Rocker actually. And he was by far their best hitter. So I always remember Tristan Casas as like, this guy's going to really hit. But yeah, that's surprising.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Was his Bowman first pretty recent?
I would have thought 2021 or 2020 maybe. Or when was...
Okay, that makes more
Not
sense.
too recent.
Yeah. Or it might have been earlier. I think it was 2018 actually. Yeah. So so he was right after the 2017 year. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really surprising. Mm-hmm.
Yep, I didn't expect that. But all right, let's move on to second base. Jose Altuve, he's on the list, and he's the AL starter as well. And of course, this is not really a surprise, but for the PSA All-Star Dream List, Baltimore Orioles, Jackson Holliday made the list. Where are you guys with Jackson Holliday?
Jackson Holliday, I mean, I think he's overpriced, but it comes with the hype.
Still.
Anybody who's, number one overall on the top 100 list is going to get the hype. Happens every year. But yeah, like we talked about his hype earlier with him getting a shot at the big leagues. I think there was a lot of incentive for Baltimore kind of to do that for that, the prospect incentive that they have. They get like a compensation pick, I think, if, Jackson Holliday would have won Rookie of the Year. So I think there was enormous hype coming into the season, and kind of like the expectations obviously fell short. And I think his prices have gone down since, but they've kind of picked up, I would say. But I think he's overpriced just in general. But yeah, I'm excited about, he's going to hit. He's just going to hit.
When he comes back
he's
up?
going to be, just, it might be when he's 23, 24 years old. Who knows? But that's the kind of roll, that's the dice you're going to roll on big prospects. You expect them to perform right now. Just like guys like Jackson Chourio. I mean, he's not having a terrible season, but that's what you get with the territory is if they don't perform, what happens to the prices? It's not saying that Jackson Chourio or Jackson Holliday won't be the superstar. They will be all-stars. But it's like, is it a good investment right now based on prices and based on will he perform when he's 21 years old, 22 years old in the big leagues? That's a tough call. We expect so much because we've seen it from like guys like Soto, but I mean, you look down the list, not too many guys just come out hot and become the player when they're 20, 21 years old. Even Vladdy, it took a couple years. Tatis, he's kind of like Soto, where he came out the gates really hot, and now he's kind of settling in. But yeah, it takes time to kind of establish. So you are taking a big risk, I think.
Yeah, it's a good reminder. And we know where Johnny stands. He's not going to buy into the hype with Jackson Holiday or any top rookie. We could go down the list. Third base. Okay, third base is Junior Caminero and Josh Young. That's not that surprising, especially because they were, top prospects, top rookies, and people are chasing them. But the question I really want to ask is, you know who the actual third baseman to AL All-Star is?
Jose Ramirez.
Year after year. Jose Ramirez.
Underrated.
Just no respect on Ramirez.
Yeah. And I think, sorry, just for Ramirez, I think he falls into that category with Altuve. It's just no matter what they do. But there will be a point in time, I think, in their career where it's just like, okay, I think Ramirez and Altuve are a buy.
Yeah.
But they're in that kind of like mid tier.
Right.
Yeah. I think you got to hold on those guys for a while if you believe in them, right?
Yeah, you won't see a spike, I don't think.
Yeah. Just no hobby love for Ramirez. All right, shortstop, Gunnar Henderson, not a big surprise, both in the real MLB All-Star list and in the PSA All-Star list. And honorable mention, Bobby Witt Jr. The only reason why he's not in the AL starting list is because of Gunnar Henderson. Both are having a crazy year. I think you're buying high on them now. I just did an IG reel on Gunnar Henderson. His gold refractor just sold for $11,800.
Wow.
You could have got it for half of that a year or 2 years ago. So it's been spiking. All right, let's go to outfielders. There's a bunch. In real life, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Steven Kwan are the AL starters. You got Aaron Judge on the PSA list. You got Juan Soto on the PSA list. That's not surprising. You also have Julio Rodriguez, Jason Dominguez, Wyatt Langford, and Evan Carter. Any of those guys stick out to you?
Carter. So hang on. Is this a most graded list, or amongst a lot the most graded, the best players of the generally outlined most graded?
I believe it's the most graded. Yeah, just strictly
okay.
by that number. Yeah.
Then where the heck is Kyle Lewis, man?
This is 2024.
Yeah, 20.
That would have been 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
The Kyle
this is
Lewis
most graded within the 2024 season. Only,
just the one season.
Yeah, this year.
I thought it was all time because I'm like, oh.
Then, you got Luis Robert and Kyle Lewis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Steven Kwan, I think obviously is the big one because there's obviously huge hype around him right now, and people were ripping last year. I believe his rookie class was last year or 2 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
And no one would grade him at that time. I mean, he was a good ball player, but he's leading the American League in average right now. He's hitting 360, which is crazy. And he is that type of hitter. I feel like he could flirt with the 300 average every year. But we know, we've seen it with Luis Arias. It's kind of like, man, what do these guys have to do to get the hobby love? And I think Steven Kwan is a trap, even though he's good. But people probably see the opportunity now. If I grade him quick and he continues to have the season, people will start buying into the Steven Kwan hype, and maybe I could flip it. So I think that's where a lot of people are grading Steven Kwan right now, because his cards were worthless before.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a little hype flurry. I remember. Was it like a year and a half ago or something?
Yeah, his rookie
season.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When he made a bit of a splash, but
I agree with you too. The phrase "chicks dig the long ball." It's true in the hobby. Honestly, I'm convinced that you got to hit over 400 to have that kind of spike if you're an average guy.
Right.
Then people will like, oh wow, then you're in the news all the time, right? I mean, Luis Arias kind of flirted with that last year. So Steven Kwan, It is what it is with average hitters. All right, to round off the AL list, designated hitters. Mike Trout is on that list, of course, and Spencer Jones of the New York Yankees. So there's some prospecting there. But in real life, this might be another Jose Ramirez type situation. DH for the actual AL roster is Yordan Alvarez. No respect for Yordan.
Underrated. Underrated. I think he's the second best hitter in baseball, and that's bold, but like he's been so consistent. If you look at his career OPS, like it's probably over 950, which is insane, and he's been doing that for 5 years. I calculated, I think last week, where Yordan was in terms of kind of like his production, and you remember he's an offensive guy first. Right, he's probably, his weak spot is defense. You don't know where to really put him. He's pretty much a DH. So, but I mean, he's producing probably in 5 full seasons. He had 1 injured season, which would have been his 6th. But in 5 seasons, he's accumulated about 22 WAR in 5 seasons, and that's not full seasons. He's had a couple seasons with like 350 at bats, 400 at bats. So for me. That's almost 25 WAR for 5 seasons. And if he's doing that type of production, I mean, I think there's huge opportunity there, because that's Hall of Fame numbers if he keeps on going. And by the time he's 35, 36 years old, he would have put up a pretty decent career. So I think he's super underrated. I think there's not a lot of hitters that are going to produce his type of numbers, because it's not just the power. It's literally, in clutch situations, his ability to drive in runs, ability to hit for average, and the power is just incredible. So for me, I'm always a huge Yordan Alvarez fan, just because, we've watched him for the past 5 years, and he's done some serious damage.
Yeah, might be a sneaky play, especially if he continues to put up those kind of numbers. At the end of his career, people might notice more, when you add up all those numbers. But because he's so consistent, it's kind of that curse, right? When you're so consistent, you're kind of boring as well, right? And you got to do something like what Judge is doing, something extraordinary to be noticed these days, especially when it comes to power. But I agree with you. Anything to add, John, before we go to the NL side?
I'm just surprised he's on the list for 2024. It's pretty impressive. I didn't think anybody would be submitting.
Yeah, that's true.
Alvarez.
Maybe. No, actually, he's not on the list for 2024.
Oh, you're saying he's not on the list?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
He's on the real AL roster. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I will say something about Spencer Jones. I think part of the hype was spring training. I think he came out hot as a New York Yankee spring training. So I think everybody started sending his cards in at that time, and then he had a brutally slow start to the season, and he's not putting up crazy numbers, but I think everybody's like, damn it, why did I grade Spencer Jones?
But the bulk of those graded submissions are in April and March, probably. All right, NL side, let's start with pitchers. The 2 pitchers on the list, can you guys guess? One plays for the Dodgers.
Shohei.
No, he's DH. He's in the DH category.
DH? Okay.
Yeah. The other pitcher. The other Japanese pitcher.
Oh, yeah, Yamamoto. I don't know how we forgot about Yamamoto. It makes sense because his rookie card is in this year's set, right? So anything. Yeah. And then Bowman was kind of like that first release. So he's been in every single release ever since, and he's been kind of like the chase, right? And I pulled a nice green foil Yamamoto out of a blaster that we were talking about. And same thing. I'm like, hey, I'm grading this. I think it will be a PSA 10. So I'm on the same boat. Right now is the time to grade and sell.
Definitely still a chase in those sets for sure. And the other pitcher, Pittsburgh rookie. Yes, sir. Paul Skeens.
For sure. Makes sense.
Yeah. And actually, I was going to save this to the end, but Paul Skeens is the pitcher with the most cards graded in that pitcher position at 9,000 cards right now.
Crazy.
Makes sense.
Yep, Skeens is the man. All right, catcher, Francisco Alvarez makes the PSA list. In real life, the catcher is William Contreras of the Brewers, who's having a great season. First base, Bryce Harper, not a surprise, both in the real AL roster and the PSA roster. And honorable mention goes to Freddie Freeman of the Dodgers.
Underrated.
No surprise there. Yeah, another underrated guy. Let's move on to second base. In real life, Ketel Marte is in the NL second base starter. In the PSA list, it is Nolan Gorman of the St. Louis Cardinals and Bryson Stott of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Interesting.
So I feel like that they're one of those, rookie and prospect chasers, wanting to grade them out and see how they do. Nolan Gorman's been a prospect for a while, or like he's been, talked about for a while, but I don't know.
I think his hype kind of died down. I think last year he shown like flashes of like, okay, this, and I still think Nolan Gorman is kind of like similar to Tristan Cassis, where he's gonna hit 30 plus home runs. But you got to remember, these guys are super young, and I think part of that was people were expecting Gorman to have a big season this year after hitting like 25 home runs last year. So, and he's still young. He's 24 years old, 25 years old. So I think that was probably the case with Nolan Gorman.
Yep. Let's go on to third base. Alec Boehm is the actual NL starter, but no one's collecting Alec Boehm or grading his cards at least. This year it's Christopher Morel of the Cubs and Brett Beatty of the Mets.
Man, it seems like everybody's just grading last year's cards, like 2023 tops.
Hoping for a big year this year, like their breakout season. That's what they're all speculating.
Even Bryson Stott, that was pretty surprising, but yeah, I mean Christopher Morel's hitting $197. It's like I don't know he had a really good season last year. That was it, and I was part of that. I pulled the purple. What are those? The bubbles, Christopher Morel tops, and I was like, I should grade this right now and sell it. And then I got lazy, and then now it's probably not worth anything.
Went to zero.
Yeah.
It's, prospecting, rookie chasing. It's you got to be quick.
Yeah,
it changes really quickly. All right, and the outfielders in real life, Fernando Tatis Jr. starter this year. Jurickson Profar having an amazing season with the Padres as well, and you've been big on this guy this year, Hyung. Christian Yelich, also a starter for the NL list, but only one of those guys are in the PSA list. Actually, none of those guys are. I can't see any of them. Yeah, none of those guys made the PSA All-Star list. Instead, it's Jackson Chourio, which we expect, everyone grading his cards. Michael Harris II of the Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr., Jordan Walker of the Cardinals, Corbin Carroll of the Diamondbacks, also makes sense from his Rookie of the Year season last year, and Mookie Betts of the Dodgers. Anything? I'll start with what sticks out of that list. Wow, Mookie Betts, is he starting to get a little bit more hobby love? After we've been saying, season after season, since the beginning of our podcast, where it's like, where's the hobby love for Mookie? I feel like slowly coming around now.
For sure. I think a part of it is the Shohei attention, and then also when you get to that level, like he's similar to Mike Trout, where there's no doubt that Mookie's underrated, but everybody goes after his Bowman Chrome and Topps Chrome cards in 2013. But I think there's a lot more collectors, like Mookie collectors out there, that would grade kind of like his, even like last year's card or 2 years ago when he was in a Dodgers uniform, or anything that's like a nice colored card of Mookie. It's like, okay, it might be worth it to grade it, keep it in the PC. Just like I grade Mike Trout cards if they're good parallels, right? So I think they're on the same line as that, where Mookie is starting to get that recognition. There's a lot of collectors out there that are grading his because obviously no one's holding non-graded rookie or Bowman Chrome autos. If they're raw, that means something's definitely wrong with it. And and I think most of that number is probably outside of his rookie season.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I could see Mookie, maybe his rookie card is not blossoming as people want, but I could see him starting to get that respect where he's seen
Hmm.
on a similar plane in terms of like legend status as Shohei, as Mike Trout, and I think that Hyung nailed it. If you get, even if it's a 2024 tops or 2023, and you get a Mookie Betts blue refractor, or green refractor, or gold, or any refractor, you probably grading it because like even you probably could flip a profit on it, right? Like
Sure.
so I could see that. I think Mookie is starting to get some of that respect in that sense of in that sense of the world.
Yeah. And to that, I say finally. All right. And to round off the NL PSA All-Star list, designated hitter, no surprise, Shohei Ohtani. And they added Tatis Jr. as a DH for some reason. I don't know if he's playing at that position, but he is on this PSA list. He's not part of the outfielders, but they put him on the
I think
DH
he's
list.
injured, so maybe that's
Yeah, he's
why.
injured.
Okay. Yep. So there you go. That's the PSA All-Star list. The top two cards out of all those players. This is weird. The article missed the shortstop position for NL, and he is the second most graded cards. Has the second most graded cards in the 2024 season. Shortstop position NL. It's a pre-quiz show. Do you know who that is?
It's a what?
This is the
Question.
pre-quiz show question.
Oh, pre-quiz show.
Because we're going to do it for
pre-quiz.
We're going to do it for the next segment.
Shortstops. Who's having a season this year?
Think about who the chase is in most of these sets this year and even last.
Oh man, you're stumping me.
You're gonna hit. You guys are gonna like.
All right,
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go.
He plays for the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, Ellie, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We should have known this.
Yeah.
Ellie De La Cruz.
He just needs to get out of Cincinnati.
Yeah. He has 26,700 cards graded in the 2024 season so far. And number one was Shohei Ohtani with 56,500 cards submitted to PSA for submission. Yeah. For grading.
You know what? Ellie does make sense. Like I see the hype. I still am bullish on Ellie. I just wish he was outside of Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati just is much love to Cincinnati. Like great, but like you look at like Joey Votto, Ken Griffey Jr. Look at all the superstars that were there that just got sucked in and didn't really have a place to shine, right? So. I'm still bullish on Ellie. It's just his prices are outrageous, but he is 21, 22 years old still, and what he's doing is pretty phenomenal, I think, regardless.
Yeah, he's exciting to watch. Yeah, and like the speed is real. And I don't know though. He looks like I just saw a post-game interview with Ellie. It looks like he's having a great time in Cincinnati, regardless. So,
yeah. He's an exciting player. I would put him in the category as like the Tatis Juniors, the Acuñas, and those are the guys that have the extreme height. Like if he puts in the numbers, it's like it's the perfect marriage of this is what everybody's kind of waiting for so that they could sell.
Yes, agreed. All right. Well, there you go. That's our hobby headline section. Let's move on now to our next segment called Quiz Show. All right. So I got 4 questions for you guys, and it's pretty simple. Quiz show format. You just got to answer them. We'll see how you did. Hyung, you did pretty well last time. I think you went 6 for 6. Johnny, you're away, but first time in podcast history, Hyung went a perfect 6 for 6 on Quiz Show.
Nice.
So let's see if that success continues. Okay, first question. There are now 214 Victor Wembanyama's Panini Kaboom cards graded by PSA, right? And I don't know if you heard on the news, it's notorious for being like just poor quality. Off-center, the exclamation mark isn't like the full exclamation mark isn't even on the card, and so there was a running joke about like how many, what's the highest grade this card's going to get. Okay, so there's 214 have been submitted to PSA. how many of those 214 received a grade higher than PSA 8?
Ooh.
So PSA 9 or 10.
We have to guess the exact number, or we get multiple choice here?
You could say a range.
Okay. I'm going to say gem rate has to be, so you said 214?
Yep.
I'm going to say PSA 10s times point. I'm going to say there's 2 PSA 10s.
Mm-hmm.
And then 214, let's say. And let's say, we'll say 30 PSA 9s.
Okay, so 32 altogether.
Yeah.
Johnny, you got
Wow.
a guess?
I've taken a break from social media for the last like 5, 6 weeks, so I'm like completely unaware of all of this, like the Walmart news and the Kaboom Wemby news. If Hyung is saying 2 PSA 10s, man, that's pretty bad. I was about to say 50%, like between PSA 8s, 9s, and 10s.
It's just 9s
But
and
now I'm
10s, I
thinking,
think.
oh, sorry, did you say PSA 8s?
Yeah. Higher than PSA 8, so just 9s and 10s, yeah.
Oh, higher than PSA, sorry, not including.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say 20%.
All right, it's kind of a trick question. There are 0 graded higher than a PSA 8.
Get outta here.
That's crazy.
So still looking for that PSA 9 or 10 out of the 200
Holy.
plus.
I don't think that they would exist then, because it's
very
probably
well be,
a
yeah.
centering issue with all of them.
I wonder if now that the word is out there, right, that these are poor quality, no PSA grader wants to be the one that gives it a 9 or 10.
Yeah, that's going to be the flagship. Everybody's going to compare theirs with the PSA 10s.
Yeah, like you can't even see the
That's not
exclamation mark.
even, that doesn't even look that off-centered.
It does
just
look
looks
off-centered
like-
at the top. If you look at the top,
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely off-centered, but the fact
Yeah.
that it looks like the exclamation mark half would be missing regardless, even if it was.
well, if you look at the top where the
Rightly
number,
centered.
this one where it's like 8 out of 10, you look at the black line, I think that's where you could see it like really off-centered. That's probably like 80-20 or maybe 70-30.
Yeah, but even if you bring back a couple of millimeters from the right side, like
Yeah.
that's still like half the exclamation mark. So the graphic alone is already completely chopped off. That's crazy.
True.
Yeah, that one's really bad. If you look at that one we have, that line is on the right edge. You see that?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the guy who was cutting it. He's just he was so confused. He's just cutting it, and then he didn't realize that
Damn.
there's that black line where you could kind of gauge where the center is.
What do you
Man,
mean?
if
Isn't
the
it
raw
a
is doing
machine?
like if the raw is doing $3,000 plus, I can't imagine what a PSA 10 would go for when
Yeah.
it comes out.
If it comes out.
If
All
it
right.
comes out. Wow.
Okay, question number 2. Which one of these 2 cards, I'm going to give you 2 cards, which one of these 2 cards went up 74% in value from 2 years ago when it sold last? All right, so there are some cards that have gone up, and this one went up 74% in value. Is it the 2013 Steph Curry Gold Prism number to 10, or is it the 2022 Topps Chrome UCC Triple Auto of Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Erling Haaland Superfractor, 1 of 1?
How many percentage?
Whoa.
74%.
I'm gonna say
2022?
the latter. I'm gonna say the latter. It has to be modern, and maybe the hype with soccer. Yeah, I'm gonna go the Messi, Ronaldo, and Haaland.
All right. What about you, John?
I feel like I agree because between that time, if you were to take advantage of a spike, it would have been Messi going to Miami. So I think I'll go with that too. That makes sense.
Okay. The answer is the Steph Curry
Wow.
Prism number to 10. It's last sold in November of 2022 for $27,600 and is sold last month for $48,070.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a great
The
sale.
Erling Haaland, the triple auto actually went down a ton. It's the opposite. It sold in August of 2023 for 134,000, and it sold just last month for 38,000.
Okay,
so almost 100K.
That context does make sense because there was that hype, and then especially Haaland too, and then Messi coming over, and then somebody's like, "Oh man, I gotta get rid of this. I gotta cash out."
Yeah. Context is everything. All right. Question number 3. LeBron just signed a 2-year, $104 million max extension with the Lakers. Just recent news. Now, if you look at his highest value card sold this past season, his Upper Deck Exquisite Collection RPA BGS 8.5 sold for 468,000. Okay, that's just setting you up for the actual question. In his rookie season, however, which is 20 years ago, which is unbelievable that he's been playing for 20 plus years, but in his 2003-04 season, how much did his most expensive card sell for? I'm going to give you a multiple choice. $1,000, $2,500, $5,000, or $7,500.
You're saying the prices in 2003?
Yes. The most expensive card in his rookie season, how much did it sell for?
Man, these are tough questions, Clark.
I remember seeing the Exquisite back then, and it was pretty expensive. I thought it was more than 10,000, but I'll say 7,500.
I want to say 7,500, but I feel like this is a trick question too.
Yeah.
It's either B or C. They always say, pick C when you're not sure. What was C?
When in doubt, choose C. 5,000.
$5,000. Yeah, I'm going to go with 5. I'm going to go with C.
All right. The correct answer, according to Card Ladder anyway, is B, 2,500.
Wow.
03-04 season. It wasn't his Exquisite. It was a...
Did the Exquisite... Maybe the Exquisite came after the season. Maybe
might have been.
It had to be a gold Topps Chrome or something, no?
It was a 2004 SP Game Used Hawaii Trade Conference autograph card.
Oh, interesting.
It had a patch on as well, yeah.
Well, they've done pretty well, whoever has it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a guy selling 2 of those, one graded BGS 7 and another BGS 8.5, a 2-card lot it's listed for 120,000 right now, or best offer. So, wow. Yeah.
Young,
all right.
Clark is humbling us with these trick questions. He's like, "You guys have been too good. It's time to bring down the hammer."
This was quickly prepared. I didn't know how easy or hard it was, but all right. Last question. This is kind of a fun one. In the 2024 Top Series 2 set, which just came out, and which I got skunked on from a hobby and a blaster. I don't know if you know this. They have a 1-of-1 sketch card inserted, and it's drawn by actual MLB players. Okay, and I'm going to show you one on the screen, and you have to guess which MLB player drew this.
Wow. Okay.
And for our podcast listeners, I'll describe what the card looks like once I put it up for the boys here. It looks like a green, almost stick figure, but it's got some muscle in there. He's a blue shirt with it's a red. I think that's a red T on his shirt or
Rangers?
jersey.
Is it a Ranger?
It could be a clue.
Could be a Ranger. That's a Texas Ranger right there. I would have said like a Bobby Witt
MLB
Jr.,
player
but
drew this.
Man, it has to be someone young. Like it has to be a Wyatt Langford or Evan Carter.
Okay.
Or Josh Young.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah,
great guesses.
I'll go with Josh Young.
I would say who's a collect, or is it like a Corbin Carroll or Bobby Witt Jr.? I feel like it's definitely a young.
Oh, are they drawing? Do you draw your own or do you draw other people's?
I don't know. I don't know if they were.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
If they were instructed.
I'm gonna say Wyatt Langford.
Oh, that's
okay, Wyatt Langford, And Josh Young, John guesses. All right, here's the answer. You ready? Wyatt Langford.
Nice. Nice.
That's
Oh
hilarious.
man. I think my 2-year-old can do better than that.
That's a terrible drawing, Wyatt. If you're listening to this, man.
Oh my.
The real question is, if you pulled it, would you be ecstatic with this hit? It's a 1 of 1, but
He
I
does
mean,
auto
it
in the
is.
back, right?
It's an auto in the back. Yeah, he signs it.
Looks
It's
like
art by
looks
Wyatt
like it's
Langford, and
gold
he
ink.
signs it.
Right.
I would be pumped.
Kind of looks.
I would be pumped
Would you?
because it's a 1 of 1. I know that, like, I'm not going to keep it, but
Right.
If I got it graded, I would ask PSA to put the auto on the front and the sketch on the back.
All right. Well, yeah. Looking back on it, it looks like a pretty tough quiz show. So, I'll next one I'll make it a bit easier for you guys. I'll put this whole segment up on YouTube. So if you want to actually see the picture of the card for yourself, you can check it out on the 5 Card Guys YouTube page. All right, let's finish off this show with our regular weekly segment we call Pick One. And this is where we each choose 2 cards and then we debate which one we would rather invest in. So Hyung, as usual, do you want to start things off for us?
sure. A lot of hype right now with James Wood being called up. And
Yep.
it's exciting because you got like Dylan Cruz, you got CJ Abrams, you got James Wood. Washington team is kind of looking pretty good, or at least the future of Washington. And we are always a big believer of James Wood, 6'7", 240, 250 plus power. Yeah, pretty can run too, which is crazy at 6'7". So I'm bullish on James Wood. I think there's an opportunity there just because if he does pop off this year when he's up in the show, I think his prices are relatively cheap. I'm not saying they're still pricey because James Wood had the hype, but just to compare, a refractor PSA 10 Bowman Chrome, I believe 2022, sold for just under $1,000. And
Autograph?
It's auto refractor number 499 PSA 10 Bowman Chrome. I'm going to pair that up with Jackson Holiday's refractor auto PSA 10. And I believe Jackson Holiday's was really high at one point, but it's gone down to $1,200. So you have the number 1 prospect, which is Jackson Holiday, and the number 2 prospect, which is James Wood. Refractor, you have about $1,000. Who are you going to buy?
James Wood is the number 2 prospect?
Yeah, he's now the number 2 prospect in MLB.
And he's big, right? I assume
6'7".
He can launch.
Oh, he has a 70 power rating.
Wow.
So 30 to 40 home run potential.
Yeah.
Which I think he's gonna do. But same with Jackson Holiday. You got to remember Jackson Holiday. Something to note before I make you guys make up your mind. I'm just saying Jackson Holiday is a plus hitter. And, you know, he's the type that can potentially hit 30 home runs, but more importantly, I would categorize Jackson Holiday more on the Soto line where he's able to get on base. I mean, his career minor league on base percentage is, I think, over like 450 or something, which is ridiculous. So he's drawing a lot of walks, which shows a sign of a really, really plus hitter. So I'll just leave it at that.
I'll go first. I was already leaning towards Jackson Holiday, so after that, I'm definitely in on Jackson Holiday. I feel like I don't know. I was surprised that James Wood. I'm looking at the MLB prospect rankings. James Wood is definitely number 2, but I was surprised by that. And Jackson Holiday, we've always known him as to be the number 1 top prospect in MLB right now. So I'm just going strictly for the upside of Jackson Holiday, and if it's just a difference between $200 for his first Bowman Chromato, give me a Holiday all day.
Interesting.
Wow. I wasn't leaning towards Jackson Holiday, but that last little blurb that Young sent down, like, oh. But I'm gonna go with my original pick, and it for me it's James Wood. And to be honest, you guys know me, like I'm not a big on prospecting, but I remember James Wood was the only of the last couple of years, he was the only one that really tempted me because
Hmm.
I don't know why. Maybe sentimentally, he was a part of the Soto trade, and I remember Hyung being so big on him, and prices were really big back then. He was super hyped. He still, I think Hyung was saying because of that hype, his prices have still stayed strong. But
Yeah.
I don't know, big guy, big swing, a little bit cheaper. Jackson already had a bit. It's just a small cup of coffee, but it doesn't really mean anything. But his prices could come down even further. I don't know. So I'm just gonna go with my original. I like James Wood.
Nice.
Tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker. Um, the problem is I like James Wood for the short term. I
Hmm.
like I like Jackson Holiday for the long term. I think, but in reality, both can struggle because the big leagues, it's different level than minor league baseball. So um, I'm gonna go actually with James Wood as well because I don't think
Wow.
I would even commit to Jackson Holiday in the long term yet because we've seen it with Acuna. We've seen the ups and downs that, I don't think anybody other than with the last name Otani is like a long term hold. Just in general, Acuna, I just seen this on Slab Stocks, but Acuna Independence Day 2018 sold for $1,300 at BGS 9.5, which is insane. So it
Wow.
just shows you like what the market thinks about, injuries even
To
on
buy.
superstars. Yeah, which is nuts. So I'm gonna go with for this. Everything is short term for me with prospects. So I'm gonna go with James Wood as well. I think he's gonna really hit. But like I said, he could also struggle. So
Yep. Understood.
Mhm.
Good one. All
Wow.
right, Johnny, you got one?
Yeah. So I've been wanting to do this one pre NHL and NBA finals, but I haven't been
Yeah.
here in a little while. But it still kind of works out. So pretty well documented. These two, one's an NBA player, one's an NHL player. They were friends since they were very young.
Mm-hmm.
They both ended up winning the championship. We're talking
It's
about
crazy.
Jason Tatum and Matthew Tkachuk. So would you rather Jason Tatum 2017 Silver Prism PSA 10 last sold for 750 versus Matthew Tkachuk Future Watch Auto PSA 10 last sold for 550.
wow,
Wow.
a Tatum Silver Prism.
Tatum Silver Prism 2017, kind of like the junk wax 2.0, like the print run wasn't as crazy.
This one's tough, but go ahead, Clark, if you want to go.
Sure. Because this one's easy for me. It's Matthew Kachuk, the Future Watch Auto. That's so. I feel like that's so underpriced. I was expecting more, and plus, yeah, Jason Tate. The Silver Prism. Like I've been burnt by the Silver Prism a few times in my
Hmm.
collecting career, so
Hmm.
I'm already turned off. And I'd rather pay a few $100 more for the Green Prism, which is the color match. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to hate on Jason Tatum, but sometimes he's just so easy to hate on. He's one of those guys where every time he talks in an interview, he's like, "Why are you saying these things?" Like people are making memes of Jason Tatum all the time now because he's. Oh, you weren't here for the episode, I don't think, John, but he's like copying everyone's lines and when he won the championship and
Oh, really?
copying Kobe and Michael Jordan's pose with the trophy. Like, can't think of anything original for himself, and
Right.
yeah. So anyway,
He has like
um,
the hip thrust jump shot that everyone makes fun of.
which, which Porzingis made fun of. I saw that clip, his own teammate. so so yeah, I don't know. I still think Future Watch autos in general are underpriced, and I'm gonna play the long game on those. And Matthew Kachuk, he's a stud, so I'll go with Kachuk.
Man, I do think Matthew Kachuk's price point for that card is the right play, but I will make my argument with Tatum. Right now, the liquidity of the silver prisms, it's pre 2018, which which is a lot better in terms of the print run. And I believe Jason Tatum's going to sign a massive contract soon. So I think
he did already, didn't he?
Did he? What was that worth?
$310 million.
That was
might be
literally
the highest paid.
Last couple days.
Couple days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the liquidity of that on Tatum's side, but I do think that Matthew Tkachuk, the Future Watch auto, we always talk about this. That's the card you want. He just won a Stanley Cup too, so he has a lot of hype. The last 3 years, he's been outstanding. Like we're talking, he went from like a player,
super underrated.
Super underrated to now it's like he's living up to, or he's getting a lot more hype now. So I do like the Future Watch auto price at $550 or whatever you said compared to the Tatum silver. So I'm gonna go with the Tkachuk as well.
Yeah. It's going to be a sweep, but see, for me, the Kachuk card, it all makes sense. It's got the auto on it. It's numbered. It is hockey, and I think Matthew Kachuk is a player. His stats alone, and now he's got a Stanley Cup. He deserves to be $1,000 Future Watch, but for one reason or another, he's just kind of not getting that respect, even after the Stanley Cup win. So I'm not super bullish that I see this card really exploding. For me, it's more on the other side with Jason Tatum. I think he was a part of like a top 5 collectible fixture, right? In terms of the sports card hobby. And even in the NBA, like he flirted. There was 2 years ago where all the talking heads were like, Jason Tatum is like the best player in the world right now. So he's been flirting in that top 5 all NBA for a while now. But I just think now, even though he's won it, respect, I think in terms of, especially in the collector space, there's a new name in town. I think that's bumping his name off of that list, and it's Anthony Edwards, right? Luka's always going to be there. Like I think Nikola Jokic is kind of always going to be there in terms of the top 5 category. And SGA, I think, is sneaking in there now. But I really think Anthony Edwards is going to take Jason Tatum's spot, and he probably already has. So I think for that reason, I could see Jason Tatum cards just slowly, and it's in a so-called lull years. He's well entering into that, right? So I think it's a dangerous time to pick him up. So for that reason, it's an easy one going the other way for Matthew Tkachuk.
Nice. One quick question for you before I do my pick one to end off the episode. John, you being the hockey guy, do you think there's also, like people like to hate on Jason Tatum, but do you think people also hate on Matthew Tkachuk? Is that why it might be limited in terms of, his potential cap of like his card values? Because the only reason why I asked this is during the playoffs, one of my good friends, he was rooting hard for the Oilers, and not just because he was a Canadian or his favorite team is actually the Rangers for some reason. He born and raised in Toronto, so that's another topic altogether. But he's like, you know why I'm going for the Oilers? Because I hate Tkachuk. He's like, he describes Tkachuk as another Brad Marchand, just a dirty kind of player. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know if that's just him or if it's just like there's enough people that feel the same way about Tkachuk, therefore capping his value.
Right. I never thought of that because I think for me, I never thought of Tkachuk. I've never hated Tkachuk. I like both of them. Okay. I like Matthew and Brady. They're both amazing players that any team would want. But now that I think about it, yeah, for sure. Because I don't like Brad Marchand. I'll never collect them. Get him away from me and away from my collection. So I could see that being the case for Matthew Tkachuk. Yes, 100%.
There you go. All right. Okay, thanks for that. All right, I'm gonna end off mine with a $500 budget. I feel like some people say you just pick too many cards that are over 10,000 for some reason, and so I'm gonna make it a little bit more real. And this all sold today, July 4th. Happy 4th of July to our American friends. This is when we're recording, but it'll come out next week. But this both sold July 4th. 2022 Topps Update, Bobby Witt Jr., Gold Parallel. Numbered to 2022, numbered to 2022, of course, the paper gold. PSA 10, $475, okay? And on the other side, 2018 Panini Chronicles Prism, numbered to $299, PSA 10. It's a Hyper Prism, actually. Number 299, PSA 10 of Shohei Ohtani. So which one are you going for?
Man,
The licensed Bobby Witt Topps brand number to 2022 PSA 10, or the unlicensed Panini Chronicles Hyper Prism numbered only to 299 PSA 10 as well, but of Shohei Ohtani.
you said
So which one are
2018,
you
right?
going for?
Panini.
2018, sorry, 2018, yes.
Batting image?
Batting image, yeah.
I don't even know what that card looks like.
I
I
gotta
didn't know
look at
about
it.
it either till I could share it with
I-
you, but
I think I see it. Yeah, pretty nice looking card, but
Yeah,
unlicensed.
that's nice. Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna go Bobby Witt Jr. The gold, just standard. I know that card can get up there if Bobby Witt keeps on doing what he's doing. The problem I have with Ohtani is there's so many different cards of Ohtani that I would get before I would even go Prism. I would even go the 2013 BBM. Do you know his Japanese uniform? Like I'd rather be at that price point over the Chronicles or Prism, sorry. And it's a Panini.
Yeah.
It's Chronicles, right? So this was probably pulled out of a Chronicles box, and then it had the silver Prism as a pull. So it's not even Panini Prism silver, like the true silver. Not that matters because it's unlicensed, but just some stuff that I always had a thing with basketball. If it came from Chronicles, I was like, I don't want the Chronicles version. But I'm gonna go Bobby Witt. I like the liquidity. I like the price point, under $500. I know those, and Bobby Witt had SPs, I believe, in Series 2, and then that's why Topps Update would be his technically first flagship, and that's why I think his Topps Chrome would hold good value. So I'm gonna, and I believe the Topps Chrome just had the autos, and then the Topps Chrome updates were his first base cards. So with that being said, I do like golds in general. They are very liquid and they're in high demand. So it's kind of like best of both worlds. So I'm gonna go Bobby Witt because I think that could quadruple in price one day.
okay. It's not really gold though. It's like dirty brown. Just saying.
Yeah, we that's a different whole story. Yeah, like paper gold is just like a kick in the nuts. It's like, what are we doing here, boys? Like I like the gold foil way better. Gold foil looks way better, but then it's like the flat brown. Yeah, ever since I would say ever since 2020, I would say everything flagship went downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another topic altogether.
Yeah.
All right, John.
Yeah. Oh man, it's really tough to go against Otani because he has proven in the collector space that you'll do well regardless. But as a collector, I think it's kind of tough. I'm gonna go Bobby Witt too because if you like Bobby Witt and you enjoy watching him, this is a
Mhm.
pretty big card. This is a solid investment piece. Like it's a standard bigger card in a Bobby Witt collection. So I think it has the liquidity, and that's the main angle that I'm going to take because none of
Mhm.
these cards for me, if I had it in my collection, would stay in my collection. So I'd be looking to liquidate. And if
Yeah.
you're going to liquidate, the Bobby Witt is going to be maybe not super easy, but I think if you went to a card show, if you needed to trade, if you needed to trade with somebody else, well recognized name. He's doing well. I think people would think I have a good chance of selling this or flipping or whatever. The Otani, little different story. Yes, it may have sold for auction on eBay for 500, but if you took that to a dealer, he'd be like, like just like exactly Hyung's thoughts. I think majority of the collectors who stare at that card would be like, it's nice, but if I'm spending 500, like I'm not going for that Otani card. So you'd be way more hard pressed to get that $500 mark. You'd probably better off just running another auction and that's it. I doubt I could get 500 in trade value or whatever, as much as the Bobby Witt, if I was at a card show or trading with somebody, um, or selling it at anywhere outside of eBay. So I think just purely thinking about liquidity, I think Bobby Witt is the easier answer for me.
Okay. I just wanted to see how much you guys love Shohei, but I guess now I know. So
It's how much we don't love unlicensed stuff. That's the question.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So are you just saying only Will would choose the Shohei?
He's all over the Shohei. He'd buy 2.
Yeah. Just to play devil's advocate before I tell you what I choose. Good luck finding a licensed numbered card of Shohei for $500. This is what you're stuck with, okay? Unlicensed, numbered to $299 Shohei. So if you want a nice numbered Shohei card in a PSA 10, yeah, this is what you're looking at. But it's going to be a sweep. I'm going to go for the Bobby Witt Dirty Brown parallel all the way for all the reasons you guys mentioned. So yeah, just wanted to do a nice lower budget fun pick one there. All right, thanks guys. We appreciate all our listeners and subscribers, and yeah, we'll have a brand new episode for you guys, I believe on Friday. Talk to you then. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts, and you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.